so we're going to deal with a really tight lapel underhook. This is going to give you a lot of issues if your opponent's a bit lower on your jacket with their underhook grip. So if James is in turtle or on my back, so puts the hooks in. So if he's here, but this is quite low, as I step up and clear a hook, he'll fall and it'll be very hard for him to continue to pull me to the ground with him. Ideally, like as he moves away and goes down, he'll want to pull me to the hip, and then it gets pretty bad, especially if he can put his hook back in and be really aggressive with these hooks to straighten me out, which makes it very hard to get back here. Okay, so we're not going to be focusing on a poor situation because we can deal with it if it's not great, and we can get inside because there's so much slack that allows me to turn inside James's hip line and block him. So if I clear here, as I come up, I can get this block in, and it's hard for him to get to the back. There's so much slack. But you'll see if you're learning how to be on the back, try to have this high. So even if I post and clear him down, this is going to keep me down and keep my shoulder going behind the line of balance, essentially. So it's hard for me to get back up. It's easier for him to put the hook in. It's hard for me to actually reach his foot and take it out, and then he can start attacking rear naked chokes in. Okay, so we're not dealing with when it's low. So if you are taking the back and you get it underhook, get it high. That's going to give you so much more control. So if he's in, we're going to use the idea of denying his ability to create an angle for choking. Okay, so if he has this grip first, okay, and we're here, we're going to occupy this hand first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start bumping him forward using my hips. So off the back of always like that. So you watch, I'm on my toes. I can be on my elbows here. It's going to be very hard to break this with your hands. As you go down here, your second grip's going to come up, and then it's going to be very difficult to start defending. So we can focus on defending this hand with our hand, but we mainly want to force him to post on his head or post on his hand so that it's occupied, and then that means we can start turning with this grip. Okay, so if he's here and he's quite upright, I'm just going to bump him forward so he's high, and then I'm going to go over his leg and I'm going to turn with this grip like this. Okay, so I'm hugging the outside of his knee. This is just temporary, so I can get my other hand on top, and now I'm bridging into him and turning up to the other side. So we're essentially here. So I've bridged and we're here. Okay, it's very hard for him to break, so you don't have this, you know. So he just has this. This elbow's closed, so he doesn't have the other side. If he has the hooks, okay, you watch, I'm going to be kicking back, pulling his knee up, coming under. And I'm doing this scissoring motion with my legs. This is really important to practice. When you're on top, on top, but they have your back, it's about trying to get your hips square to the floor whilst controlling this knee. So if he's here with his hooks in, I bring the back leg behind me, the top leg on top, and keeping this knee in tight. And then I'm going to use this hand to start bringing my other knee out, sink back, and now it's hard for him to pull me back down. If he tries to continue to attack, it's very difficult. I can just get hit. So there's two ways for him to control my rotation. It's through the underhook and it's through the choking grip. And I always want to go with whatever one he has initially. So again, and we're going to use this idea of controlling the angle through the knee to get a pass over to stop him switching his hips and keeping his away. I'm going to occupy his choking hand. I'm going to roll with it, bridge on top, and now my hips are going to switch back this way as I control this knee. And then I can post back. On this side, my hands are up high to stop that choking hand coming in, and then I'm going to bump it forward. Once I'm here, I go to the knee, go to my back and bridge. Don't stay down here. Now you can just throw the legs over. I say your arms, whatever. Bridge, control the knee, and now you're going to switch your head, put your hand on the floor and hold the knee, sink back, and now it's all about getting height. For him to tackle his arm is very difficult. Okay, as he starts to move to an arm bar or whatever it is, I get my head up, and then so that's dealing with a really tight underhook, moving with. So this is trying to stop me turning into him. Okay, and it's always going to pull me back if he's tight. So I'm going to go with it, and then I'm going to switch my hips. Alternatively, if he doesn't have this, but he has hooks, so if I'm like here, I can keep my collar protected. I can base on my elbow, and then from here, if he has the choking grip, like this, okay, what I'm going to do is prioritize his knee. I'm going to turn with it, like this, control the knee, bridge, and now I'm going to look to switch my hips back. Okay, it's going to be very difficult for him. It's going to be very difficult for him to create the angle for the choke, because he will need. So if James is trying to finish the choke, he needs this leg to come across. Now I'm not gonna like push this leg out of the way. I'm gonna control this leg through this leg. So for him to finish, it's gonna be very difficult. If he tries to fall through, I'm based, or it can be here. As I roll through, his hooks also become weaker. I can bridge on, cup even at the shin, lower foot, and that's going to allow you to switch your legs. Now he has to try to chase you, and you have his knee. So if he's trying to get up with it, and we're in a good position. So if we're thinking fast about what's happening, what does he have? Does he have the collar? Does he have the underhook? What's he got? Now what if he has both is like the main answer, the main question. So if he has both the collar and this, I'm going to prioritize the choke. So I'm going to go to the knee here. I'm going to block that rotation happening, and then I'm going to move to his knee. Okay, for him, it's going to help counter the pull on the underhook side, and it's going to keep this knee in. So as he pulls this, he pulls his own knee. I'm going to look towards his arm, so as he's pulling this as well, it's very difficult, and now I can slide down. If he has hooks, I can slide down to the leg to bring his foot inside, and then switch. And now I'm on my elbow again. He has to think about what he wants to do. I bring my knee in, I get height. So you're always prioritizing the choke. Okay, so if they're whatever arms over the shoulder, you go there first. If they have a strong underhook, and if they use it well, they can use it to break you down into a really bad position. So you don't want to stay here. Okay, so they might just use this, especially if you're defending your choking grip, they might just use this to then get into stronger positions, control your hand, and deny your turtle. So people may be good at breaking you to your side, and this is what you want to avoid. So when you're in turtle, base is everything. So being here, even just on your side here, or with hooks. So he allows me to keep him on his head and shoulder with hooks. Like this is best for you. I can start the hand fight, I can start to choke him. Lots of things, but when he's on his knees, he can always build up and defend. So that's what you want to keep in mind. One more time. If they're getting in fully, I'm going to be on my elbows. If I'm on my head here, there's too much pressure. And usually they don't even need to roll. They can just, put it back. They can just sprawl into it. So I keep my ass behind my knee. I stay on my elbows for more support. And then from here I'm looking to stop the angle. So even if he gets the choking grips and tries to roll across the finishing tag, it's very difficult. I focus on my base. When I'm ready, I can roll. So as he's choking, I can roll with it, and I'm bridging, looking for the corner of his knee, and then I can go and pull his shin up. I'm going to switch my legs and go back to my knees, and now for him to get up on top, it's very difficult. So it's very tiny things, and you're like living the very edge of danger, like you definitely will get submitted the first time you do this. And you have to believe in the concept and believe that you are safe, and you have to be always moving with the choke. When you start to go against it, it makes it stronger, okay? And the whole idea is to deny the angle and keep moving in line with the choke.
I feel like when the collar choke's in and I have the underhook, the underhook's always lower, like we were talking about at the start.
Yeah.
So even when you do go to the choke side and I do have the underhook, it's not enough to actually pull you because it's so low.
Yeah.
There's no rotational control and get inside like we were talking about.
Because you're like, especially if it's on the far side, because then you were pulling my jacket across.
Yeah.
So you're trying to do this sort of.
Yeah.
Cross directional pull.
Yeah.
With the choke, when you're initially taking the grip, people will take high in the collar, and that's going to control rotation.
Yeah.
But it's not going to
once
aid your submission.
Like I'm here, once the choke comes in, it tends to.
Yeah, that's why people, well, this is why I think people will teach this folding method. So if you have this original grip, you're going to open up the choking hand.
Yeah.
So that you need very little angle. So the better your choking grip is, the less of an angle you need on your legs to finish this. So like this is a good, like if I'm here, if I'm under, this is not aiding in this choke. You know, usually you're here and you're extending through as you're choking. But initially you just want this high to start breaking them down, pulling them over their shoulder. But it's also opening a tight choke. So I need less of an angle the higher I can get this choking grip, okay? And then as I go across, you need very little positional advantage with your legs to create big choking pressure. So it's all about like the level of your opponent's attacks on the back and your defense and your awareness of, you know, how tight are they in their position. The tighter they are in the position, the more that you're going to have to focus on dominating this top arm with a cross grip. So if I have a hook, this leg, this arm here, James, is going to hug over my knee, and your other arm is going to pull at my elbow, and you're going to look to your right. And now as you turn, other way, there you're going.
Oh, into it.
Yeah, you're going to turn and roll that way. Okay, see the way now? You've got slack through your grip, and you've denied the angle through your knee control. And then you can pass this hand to my knee. And that's the way I allow you to switch your hips by bridging and turning.
So I'm going to bridge this way.
Yeah, and then switch your hips. Yeah, and then you sit back. So that's the magic. I'm just going to cover switching of the hips. Okay, it's very difficult to start turning out of things when someone has hooks and they have you splayed in like this. So a good idea that you want to be focusing on is going down for the instep so that this leg can start coming behind you and the other leg can go onto the floor. So when your opponents like splayed you out, you're going to bridge into them to keep the weight up here. The further he climbs up my back, the worse it's going to be. This is just basic back defense, but it's unconventional. You'll not get taught this a lot. Craig Jones teaches this in no-gi a lot, is turning the hips. But when you're here, focusing on this and this initially, so that you can get down to denying this hook. This hook can keep you quite attached in from turning your leg. So what you're going to do is focus on bridging and creating space under yourself, and then getting flat. Right? See the way my hips are now facing the ground? I can put this hand on the floor, push myself back, and this is where the switch, there's two switches. The first one and the second one is like this one's going to come straight and the other one's going to come up. Okay, now it's going to be a race. I get on my elbow, he tries to get up, and then I can get up. You can also do it in body triangle situation. It's much more difficult than the gi. So you watch, I can hug his knee, go across. The first switch is like a scissor, and then I have to get my hips onto the floor, like this. Okay? Once I'm here, it's very hard for him to turn me back. So I bring his hand over, so it's even harder. I get on my elbow, I slide him back, and the second switch is this leg comes under, and this leg comes out. And now it's really easy for me to get up onto my hips. So if I stay like this It's very difficult for me to bring this second leg in. So I have to go like this. Okay, now as we race, I can get up pretty easy. Just without a partner. If you're practicing, if you're bridging, looking for the secondary leg, you don't even need to a lot of the time. Mostly focus on the arm. But you're gonna bring this leg behind and turn your hips to face the ground. Once you're here, you can post on your hand and your elbow. And now it's about sneaking your hips to the side. And now this is about getting back to base. Base is everything. If you're a defense, if you're to fight, turn the situation around, you're gonna need to get your hips back so you can get up and you can stay mobile and strong. Okay, that's switching the hips.